Welcome to the video, folks, and thanks for watching. This is your host, the Crane Man, and I'll be moving content down the line for you. Episode 2 of That's Right will explore the explosion of crime in America, along with some potential contributing factors to that explosion. Let's get it flowing. To begin, I would like to make clear that I do not wish violence upon anyone. Also, I am glad that both of these women are unharmed. Violence inflicted on our elected representatives, regardless of party affiliation, is damaging to all of us in America. It is my belief that violence should be used in a defensive manner exclusively. If you would like a clear example, watch the video of what happened in Kenosha with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle only used violence defensively against those who chased and attacked him, as is clear from the video and as is affirmed in the ruling in that case. Also, the intent of this video is not to say told you so, but to demonstrate how insane policies with almost no data supporting them are probably not the most healthy policies to institute for those who wish to live in a peaceful society. Moving on. As can be seen in the headline, two Dems who supported police reform were carjacked less than 24 hours apart. Illinois State Senator Kimberly Lightfoot was targeted in suburban Chicago on Tuesday night, while Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon was carjacked Wednesday afternoon after an event in South Philadelphia. Gives details of these crimes, but what we're interested in is at the bottom of the article. Both Scanlon and Lightfoot had previously spoken out about police reform, especially in the wake of George Floyd's death in Minneapolis last year. They both co-sponsored bills in their respective offices that called for mental health specialists to be dispatched instead of police to some incidents. We have seen too many lives taken and communities devastated by police brutality and racial profiling, Scanlon tweeted after Floyd's death. Action is long overdue. Benny tweets 12 major cities have broke their homicides records this year. They are all led by Democrat mayors. This is what happens when you try to defund the police. Now, is crime a little bit more nuanced than this? Certainly. But Benny's making a good point. These insane policies that had no statistical support were implemented in certain places, and it hasn't led to good results. And just so that we're clear, he's not lying in this tweet at all. From ABC, you can see the cities which have broken their annual homicide records. We have Portland, Tucson, St. Paul, Louisville, Austin, Baton Rouge, Columbus, Toledo, Rochester, Indianapolis, and Philadelphia. And with a little Googling, I found the mayors of each of these cities. In Portland, you have Ted Wheeler, who's a Democrat, and he's been in office since 2017. In Tucson, you have Regina Romero, a Democrat, who's been in office since 2019. In Albuquerque, you have Tim Keller, a Democrat, who's been in office since 2017. In Austin, you have Steve Adler, a Democrat, who's been in office since 2016. In St. Paul, you have Melvin Carter, a Democrat, who's been in office since 2018. In Baton Rouge, you have Sharon Weston Broome, a Democrat who's been in office since 2017. In Indianapolis, you have Joe Hogsett, a Democrat who's been in office since 2016. In Louisville, you have Greg Fisher, a Democrat who's been in office since 2011. In Toledo, you have Wade Capsicowitz, sorry dude about that last name pronunciation, a Democrat who's been in office since 2018. In Columbus, you have Andrew Ginther, a Democrat who's been in office since 2016. In Rochester, you have Lovely Warren, who used to be in office. She was a Democrat in office from 2014 to December of 2021. And in Philadelphia, you have Jim Kenney, a Democrat who's been in office since 2016. Now, not only do we have 12 cities breaking their annual homicide records, but as you can see from this article from The Guardian, the U.S. records largest annual increase in murders in 6 decades this year. National murder rates rises nearly 30%, with figure increasing across all regions and from small towns to cities. As I said before, things are more nuanced than Benny's tweet, but a good point should be driven home here. The Guardian says the U.S. has experienced its largest ever recorded annual increase in murders, along with new statistics from the FBI, with the national murder rate rising nearly 30% in 2020, the biggest jump in 6 decades. Nearly 5,000 more Americans were murdered across the country last year than the year before, even as rape, robbery, and other property crimes fell, according to FBI figures. Murder increased in every geographic region and in small towns and suburban areas as well as large cities. At least 77% of the murders were committed with firearms, according to the new government estimates. Here we have Representative Lauren Boebert tweeting, Chicago's Lightfoot, that's Mayor Lightfoot, is asking the federal government for help fighting crime. We'll touch base on that later. San Fran's Mayor Breed has backed away from, quote, woke policing. Some Democrats are finally realizing that their insane defund the police policies are harming their own communities. And here we have mighty Twitter warrior Greg Malenke. Hashtag Lauren Boebert is so dumb. Defund the police did not take forces off the streets, double exclamation point. Look into what it means before posting comments, single exclamation point. Greg even adds a gif of a baby to suggest that Boebert is infantile for not understanding what Greg's speaking about. The only problem with Greg's assertion is that it's completely wrong. Here we have a tweet from Josh Denny that says, LA City Council cut $150 million of police funding in July 2020 as a PR response to the defund the police movement. Crime has exploded. Gavin Newsom is now granting LAPD and CHP $300 million to fix the problem. Here we have Andy No tweeting, a Portland woman called 911 as she was being held hostage. It took the police more than 10 hours to finally get inside, but by then she was already killed. Portland is dealing with record murders and long response times after the city defunded police to appease Antifa. In this article, we can see Portland has lost 140 officers to retirement, transfers, and resignations since the rioting began a year and a half ago. Currently, there are around 788 sworn officers in the city, or about 1.2 officers per 1,000 people. Compared to other American cities of similar population size, Portland has the fewest officers per 1,000 people. Here we have a picture of Mayor Ted Wheeler of Portland tweeting, today, Council will consider referring a ballot measure to fundamentally reimagine police accountability. The City Council has redirected millions of dollars from the Police Bureau's budget and is pressing forward with updates to Bureau policies and training. We continue by going to Nicholas's tweet, which says, NBC was shocked that the defund the police movement they pushed actually hurt the community of liberal Burlington, Vermont. Quote, often just 5 officers are on shift for a city of more than 44,000 after Burlington leaders cut the police force by nearly 30%. This is a video of NBC Nightly News. We'll play a couple of seconds so you can hear them say it.
It was a long night.
Often just 5 officers are on shift for a city of more than 44,000 after Burlington's leaders cut the police force by nearly 30%.
Very clear there. Now, Peter asks, is there anyone who supported the defund, abolish the police movement who's come out and said, I made a mistake, this was a bad idea? We see an image that shows that some of them admitted rightfully that, yes, they literally mean abolish the police. But Louisa here says to Peter, show me a place where the police were actually abolished, or even significantly defunded, and then maybe we can talk about it. That's right, Louisa has no idea about the topics we just covered, or is willfully ignorant of them. Nancy Pelosi is another one who doesn't know anything.
Of lawlessness in our country that springs from I don't know where. Maybe you do. The fact is that there is...
Maybe you do. Nancy, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a top 5 most powerful Democrat in the country, doesn't know where the lawlessness is coming from. Couldn't possibly imagine that the policies that her party supported, that defunded police, has led to a rise in crime. That's right, she does not know where that came from. Eddie tweets, this is the nicest way possible of saying all that defund the police crap is about to bite you in the ass. We see an NPR headline that says, rising violent crime is likely to present a political challenge for Democrats in 2022. You think? But they don't even see it coming. Nancy has no idea where this is coming from. Dig into some more opinions. Cernovich tweets, America's crime wave has hit such high levels that members of Congress can be carjacked, but the Democrats' national conversation is focused on nagging remaining holdouts into getting vaccines. Cernovich thinks 2022 is going to be a disaster for them. No amount of, quote, fortifying votes will stop this. Of course, when he says fortifying, he's referring to this Time magazine article that was printed after the 2020 election that's headlined with the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. And more specifically, if we scroll down, we'll find this paragraph, which states, that's why participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told. Even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream, a well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election, they were fortifying it. And they believe the public needs to understand the system's fragility in order to ensure democracy in America endures. Cernovich had another tweet about the Democrats and their need to be ousted from positions of power. Here we can see in July of 2020, Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago had great concerns about the possibility of Trump sending feds to Chicago. And of course, we all know she went on to say how she wouldn't accept any help from the federal agents should they come to Chicago because the Orange Man, who's very bad, was in office. But now that Biden is in office, she seeks additional help from the ATF, U.S. Marshals, and basically just the federal government to help her curb the violence in Chicago. What this means is that Mayor Lightfoot has played a political game with the citizens of Chicago's lives. For political reasons, she denied any help whatsoever from the federal government when Trump was president. And for political means, she's asking Biden to help her now, to make them look like they're addressing the problem, even though we all know Chicago's violence has been out of control for, God knows, decades probably. And it's only accelerated under Lightfoot. I'm going to finish this episode by looking at a tweet. It doesn't have much traction because it's not from a big name. Justice tweets, I 100% blame Democratic Party politics for the rise in crime, violent crime, most especially BLM and defund the police rhetoric. And Terry agrees, absolutely. Now, is this sentiment the majority in America? I can't assert that. But you can see that the small people who don't get too much engagement on Twitter are saying it out loud, and others are agreeing with them. So it certainly exists, and I would bet that it's bigger than most of us are aware of. Thank you for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more blue-collar commentary from the Rust Belt. Connect to Old Foundry Media socials at the links presented on the screen now. Hope to see you next time.